Hello, my gorgeous makeup loving friends. If you were watching the earlier episode of Swatching Sundays, which featured Artitude Cosmetics Vintage Neutrals palette, you probably heard at the very end that I was doing another Swatching Sundays, a double in one day. What did we do to deserve this? Who knows? Anyways, the palette that I'm looking at in this particular episode is the Cosmic Brushes Sinister palette. This came as part of their Sinister Halloween mystery box. So it's kind of a funny one to swatch in that anyone who wants this already kind of has this in the sense that they would have bought it through the mystery box. You kind of can't get it anymore. So yeah, anyways, we're doing a swatches just to see what the story is. Lots of different lighting conditions. It's a 20-pan palette, so there is quite a bit to kind of talk about in this. Feel free to comment below for those of you who have this, etc., as to what you guys think, because I just find that sort of thing helpful. I don't love like limited edition palettes. I think that this is something they should kind of bring back, or at least make permanently available. And also we have their Christmas thing coming very, very soon. It's a lot in a very short space of time. Anyways, that's not the point. Let's get into actually swatching this and getting some overall first impressions. I know that when I got this palette, I initially did some swatches, but let's be real, they were not appropriate swatches. They didn't give us any sort of context. They were very swatches. So I did get asked, would I please include this in the Swatching Sundays? And I figured, why not have a double entry? Why not have 2 Swatching Sundays? I am very nice this week. I don't know what's going on. So anyways, I have the palette here. The stencil is on. Fingers are clean. Let's get into it. So we have our first 4 shades here, and I will say this shade seems to be holographic, which, oh my goodness, this is the first time they've done something like this, and I am beyond excited to see exactly what sort of an effect it's going to give, but it looks really very, very interesting. So we have Eerie, that's the more holographic one. Paranormal, that's quite a pale lilac. Ominous. And Chilling. Now, as per usual, I'm going to build these up to full opacity. I'm just giving you a sort of an idea as to what they look like when initially swatched. And now we have our next 4 shades here. This one is very aptly called Bone, and we have a couple of little shimmers in here. So let's have a little look to see what the purple formulas are like, because obviously that's very hard to get right. So as I said, we have our shade Bone, which looks like it's basically the colour of my skin. Terrifying. Creepy. Did have a little bit bleed out into the next one. That's great. Well done, Teresa. We have Haunted and Cursed. It's funny, I thought that there was going to be more greys than there actually were, but we have a few here. So this one is called Crypt. Then we have Menacing. Then we're getting into the reds. We have Sinister, which is obviously the name of the palette itself. And then we have Damned. Now this section of the palette almost reads romantic to me. See how these are almost like Valentine-y shades? They're beautiful, but I wouldn't have kind of gone, oh, these are Halloween-y shades. Of course, obviously, let's be real, you can use palettes whenever, so smart, let's be real. So we have the shade Strange, Shiver, Fear, and Danger. Ooh, that's a good red. And we're on to the very last 4 shades of the palette. And I know you're saying, Teresa, that's not 4, those are 3. Yes, this is correct. But one of the shades is actually an eyeglass. So what I'm going to do is swatch the black shade, which, by the way, look at that. That's really impressive. I'm going to swatch that twice and then it's put down as being a cream, but it seems to be more of a gloss. Put the gloss on top of it, just so we can see exactly what the story is there. So we have the shade Void. And as I said, I'm going to put that into the next one as well. So pop that in there. That's impressive though. Look at the amount of pigment on that. Oh, that is a damn good black. Oh, I love a good black. That's really, really, really good. I'm very impressed with that. Because other parts of the palette I've kind of been like, okay, not as much. But I mean, let's be real. Swatches only give you so much information. Then we have Nightmare, which seems very similar to this shade here. We'll see, maybe, yeah, probably once I build it up. Oh, a bit of the black got in there as well. Oh no. Anyways, it is what it is. And Warning. Oh, that's nice. Can I talk for a second about how stained my fingers are? Like, that is nuts. Right, going into the shade Ghost. I don't like the texture of this. I know this because I tried it and I don't like it. I don't like it. But we'll give a good swirl. There it is. There's like almost a grey tinge to it. So let's pop it on top of this one. See exactly what's going on. Sorry about that, guys. The camera kept slipping, so it was very annoying. Anyways, we've put the gloss on here. It does give you that sort of an effect that they had shown in the sort of a sneak peek reveal-y type thing. It's a lot more muted than I would have thought, but I mean, I think it'll look beautiful on. Let us remove the stencil now. Ooh, and obviously they're also coming out with a Christmas palette very, very soon. They're another brand that's kind of, they're doing a lot, and I'm kind of like, okay, I get a lot of it has been down to transportation issues, but I have gotten a smidgen overwhelmed. I'm still going to buy it because I'm an idiot, but yeah, this is the palette overall. As you guys know, right now we have one ring light at a 90-degree angle and 2 box lights. So there's quite a lot of light. It may be drowning out some of the shimmers, some of the mattes, but you can see there's a lot of blending out shades here as well. It's not as deep and dark as I thought it was going to go. I don't know if that makes any sort of sense. It's sort of like a safer play on this sort of a colour story. You know, they could have gone deeper, darker. Like even the amount of greys, there's not that many greys. I thought we would have had more. Anyways, let's add in some more lights to the mix to just see how much that drowns everything out. So now I have an overhead light here as well, and you can see it's kind of faded out the mattes quite a bit. Part of what I like to do with that is to just show you how pigmented the mattes actually are. Like, are they going to hold up pretty well? Because I know some people buy these particular things for performances, etc., and they're going to be under a lot of light. So that's part of why I do that. In case you're wondering why I do that, that's why everyone buys these things for different reasons. You know, maybe it's just me because I did a lot of musicals back in the day. So I do think a lot about like when you have a million lights on you and how washed out things can actually look. Just to give you an idea as to whether or not shades are going to work for their intended purposes. But the shimmers are still shimmering pretty darn well. But obviously we're going to get rid of some lights right now just so you can see them even better. And now we just have the ring light on here, and I'm hoping this will give you the opportunity to see some of the shimmers in all of their glory. Look at that goddamn black matte though. Look at how good it is. I do think the addition of the eye gloss on top is rather interesting. Is it still glossy? Yeah, it is still glossy. And my God, my fingers are so stained. So I don't know how I feel about the eye gloss bit. And also, yes, I know I got a bit of the black in there, but it leads to a really interesting sort of an ombre effect, which I personally like. So I will receive no criticism over here. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm not keen on the addition of the gloss into the palette for lots of different reasons, simply because, I mean, they gave like a little thing to put over it, but it's just like a bit of plastic, like a plastic sheet, and you could lose that so easily, and then you're just going to end up with a load of shadow in there, and it just feels a little bit iffy to me. I'm not saying I'm going to depot it, but I might. You know, I can't see myself getting a lot of use out of that. Sorry, this is just me whinging about something when I'm meant to be showing you swatches. Oh dear. But hopefully, I mean, you have your own eyes. You don't need me to point these things out to you. You know, you're adults. So yeah, anyways, let's remove all of the lights now, as we normally do, and make it very weirdly romantic. Okay, this is where it really does kind of come into its own. Look at those sparkles. Whatever kind of, I don't want to say disappointment, because I didn't feel disappointment, but I was just like, oh, it's not quite what I expected. But this is always the issue with the mystery box. But seeing it now in this lack of light, those shimmers, I know I've said this before, I do love a shimmery thing, but I do need some good mattes, and generally their mattes are pretty good. So I have a nice mix here of things that will work for me. Look at those. Like that is sexy, isn't it? That is nice. I feel like the addition of the pale purple almost confuses me to a degree, because it's there and it's like, where are the rest of the purples? And it's not the same tone of purple. You know, I think they could have gotten rid of that and put like more of a slaty grey in there. Is that just me? Am I being very unnecessarily pernickety? I probably am. But you know, I mean, the thing is you can't even really get this. They just had this be limited edition, which I think is foolish. Bring this back. Have it so that if people want it, they can get it. Because not everyone necessarily wanted to get a mystery box. Again, sorry I'm whinging, but yeah, sorry. That's just what I do over here. Whingy McGee. But yeah, it is very, very pretty when you look at it in this light. And now I have it on my phone. You can see the sparkles pretty well. Obviously, if I do the standard trick of like put the camera right in there like that, it looks all shimmery and sparkly. I thought I was going to be more impressed with that holographic shade at the top. It's fine. Maybe it's one of those things that I just need to get the knack of and get the correct sort of primer, because I mean, I am being wildly unfair. I'm not putting any sort of primer on. Just, I don't want to waste things. She said she swatches the entire thing. That is beautiful. That shade there. I think is that the shade Sinister? I think it is. That's beautiful. Like there are some beautiful shimmery shades in here. I'm just a bit confused about some of the purples. Do you know what I mean? The gloss is kind of interesting. I'd probably use it, you know, for like lip gloss or something. No, I actually wouldn't. I don't think I'm ever going to use that. Keep talking myself out of it. But yeah, that's it in this particular lighting. But obviously we have more lighting conditions to look at. But it does look very, very nice. So I'm in somewhat indirect sunlight, and I do almost forget that there's those two shades at the top, because they're so pale, even on me. Like it's, where are they? They're there, I swear. I swear they're there. But yeah, this is what it looks like in indirect sort of light. I can't even call it sunlight. Just indirect daylight. There we go. That's the correct word for it. Using this obviously on my phone. Yeah, it looks fine. Does it rock my world? Not in this light, but that's fine. That's just how these things are. Let's try it out on another camera again, because we're weird. And there we go. We are just standing in front of the window. Well, I say standing, I'm actually kneeling on the couch. But you see what I'm talking about? These shades here. There are two shades there, but you can't really see them. Like, oh, I'm so pale. I'm sure this will probably show up on other people. So you do have to take these things with like a pinch of salt, because it's going to depend upon the person. The gloss, still sticky, by the way. Still sticky. I just, that is a sensory nightmare for me. I kind of suspect I'll be getting rid of that. But it's going to drive me a bit nuts having an empty pan in there. I kind of wish they hadn't done that and had just gone for something else. I get that they're trying to do something different, but yeah. Anyways, sorry. What, is that the third or fourth time I've whinged about that? Shut up, Teresa. You're so annoying. Anyways, this is what it looks like in indirect light. Let's go outside and listen to the birds. And here we are out in the great outdoors, the only YouTube channel that asks the opinion of rural birds as to what they think of indie cosmetics brands. Birds, what do you think? I hear some chirps in the background. They say they're cool with them. They find them interesting. Yeah, it'd be great if this would focus, wouldn't it? There we go. Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice. It's grand. I do think this is a sort of colour story that's very, very hard to do and kind of make everybody happy. Do you know what I mean? I can see some, obviously, that was a very delayed response, Bird. I can see that shade up at the top right. That's quite a pale purple, so I can kind of see a few more purples in there. But they feel a little bit disjointed in terms of their addition to the colour story. Maybe that's just me. Feel free. I don't think this needed to be a £20 palette. I'm going to say that right now. This could have been a £12 palette. They could have gotten rid of the purples, could have gotten rid of that ridiculous gloss, and it would have been exactly the same sort of thing. Much more impactful. Maybe that's just me. Anyways, let me know down below what you guys think. I'm not saying there's anything against the quality, it's just I'm not certain on the colour story in exactly the way that it's put forward. I'm being very critical here, so please do bear with me. If you love it, I'm delighted for you. I think this is like one of those ones that I'm like, when I looked at it first, I think I loved it more, and now I see it swatched and I'm like, it's not as like, I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm talking myself out of these things. Shut up, Teresa. You don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, it's grand. Let's try it on the old phone now. And there we go. By the way, I did just check that gloss again. It is still wet, so I just can't imagine having that on my eye because I have creasy, crepey eyelids, and it's just, I'm going to end up with gunk. Do you know, like the lines of gloss gunk? I cannot figure out who that's for. Very, very young eyelids, I suppose, which is grand. People have young eyelids. The holographic shade I'm very disappointed in. There's not really a lot happening with that. I think even in the darkness I didn't see much with it. Anyways, let me know what you guys think. I know quite a few of you have tried this, love it. It could be completely different when I get on the eyes, that I might be like, yeah, this is my jam. But at the moment, I'm a smidgen underwhelmed. Yeah, but also I'm sick, so maybe I'm just viewing everything through that lens. Bear with me.
We have now swatched the entire palette, and I know I said I was going to give some first impressions, and I'm usually quite reluctant in doing that when I haven't tried the palette in particular, but I'm more just gonna talk about like the color story and some of the formulas, because that's something I can actually give a first impressions on. I would have thought that this would have been much more grey black heavy than it actually was. The fact that there's kind of some random purples in here that aren't necessarily entirely related to each other feels a little bit unnecessary, and considering she has the Gothic palette, this felt a little bit strange. I was a little bit underwhelmed with this shade, the holographic. I would have thought that I would have gotten an awful lot more from that. You know what I'm going to say about the gloss. I cannot stand it. I'm not going to say it ruins the palette for me, but it does make me feel a whole bunch of ways. And like, by the way, when I was washing off my arm, it was very difficult to get off. I had to get like an oil-based cleanser to get it off. It was not coming off with like normal soap. And just, I get it. I appreciate the fact that they're trying something new. Kudos to a brand that kind of goes, look, I want to try something different. I want to diversify. Let's bring something new into the field. Absolutely love that. I just don't feel like this was the time and the place. I feel like even the packaging isn't quite up to it, in the sense that they just put that little stickery thing on top, and I've kept that, but I'm like, eventually that's going to lose its stick. They could have at least done a plastic component. This could have been a 12-pan palette and I would have had a very, very similar effect. I feel like out of all of my Cosmic Brushes palettes, and I'm going to sound so mean, and I really enjoy their brand, like a lot. I feel like this might be their weakest one, you know? And I like reds and blacks as a colour story. It just feels like there's a lot of reds in it, for sure, but like not a lot of black grey. Do you know what I mean? Like there could have been an awful lot more to that, but condensed down into a 12-pan palette. That's just my first impressions. Now, in terms of like how it actually operates, I don't know. I haven't played with it on the eyelids yet. It could look so completely different from the swatches. It could be that those holographics are like bam on the eyelid. Maybe I'll have to play around a little bit more in terms of glitter primers, etc. And if that's the case, that's totally fine. It's totally fine. And if that's the case, will you let me know? Will you comment down below, tell me some tips and tricks as to what you think works with this? Like, I'm glad I have it. I love cosmic brushes and I'm a disgusting collector, you know, it is what it is. But I do feel like this one is not quite executed to the same level as her other things. And some of them, it took a bit more to build up in terms of swatches than I would have seen in the past. That's not necessarily a bad thing because I like a buildable formula, but this did feel slightly different. I don't know if she's changed manufacturers. I don't think she has, but yeah, I didn't love it as much as I thought I was going to. Maybe that'll change with use, etc, etc. The black though, oh my god, that is a damn good black. That was so impressive. Like, if Trixie, the gorgeous Trixie, came across that black, she would die. She'd love it. Like, I think that's pretty damn good. But overall, yeah, it's fine. I'm interested to see what they're going to do now with their Christmas offering, because that seems to be, I'm hoping it's not a mystery one. I'm hoping they're actually going to show us a bit more. We do know that there's definitely a red lipstick with that. Like, I would have definitely gotten that, and now I'm kind of like, I'm not 100% certain, but let's be real, I probably will, because I do love cosmic brushes. This one just doesn't land as much as previous ones. But I think it's, do you know what? I think it's probably that I hold cosmic brushes to a slightly higher standard, I think, than most other brands. And if another brand had given me this, I'd have been like, yeah, this is great. This is fantastic. But they've almost kind of like shot themselves in the foot because they've always been so great that it's like as soon as there's a slight misstep, I kind of go, But actually, you know, it is grand. I think I'm teetering back and forwards on this and thinking a little bit too much on it. But I know there's quite a few people and they've really enjoyed it. They've gotten some great use out of it. I haven't yet, just what with being sick, etc. But my gorgeous friends, let me know what you guys think. Is this your kind of deal? Do you think, as I do, that this shouldn't be limited edition? That for those who didn't want to get a mystery box because they don't like to deal with the, oh, I don't know what I'm going to get and what if I get stuff that I don't like. For those that didn't want to do that, I feel like it's a bit unfair that they can't get their hands on this if this is something that they would feel very, very passionately about. Do you feel that this should be part of their permanent catalogue? Like me, this is what I generally think. But my gorgeous friends, that's it. That was a very long outro. Thank you so much for watching. Do please like, comment and subscribe. Turn on that notification bell while I dance over here because I don't know what to do. I need to change my outro because it's getting a bit like stale. I can feel the mold building on it. Anyways, I feel like that's enough weird dancing, but now I've gotten into the rhythm of it. It's proper white person dancing. This is very embarrassing. Oh dear. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Do please like, comment and subscribe, all that general jazz. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.